In January 2022 we went to Phuket for a visa run and we stayed at the Ibis Hotel amongst others at Kata Beach. We walked about 3.5 kilometres up some really steep mountain tracks to the Big Buddha. Some enthusiastic person put 1,000 metres to Karen or Kata. What a joke. It's not a walk, it's a trek. I'm finished. So once we got off the beaten track, we had to walk another kilometre up a steep incline on a bitumen road to the entrance to the Big Buddha. And here is the welcome sign. If you have a look at the bloke walking from right to left, he was quite fit and he would have coped with the walk or trek. As you walk from the welcome sign up to the main viewing area, there's a number of exhibits. So we walked around the Big Buddha in no particular order, and here's a view of the southwest corner of the island of Phuket from the mountain. And here's a long shot of the steps that led up to the Big Buddha itself, with some curio shops and other exhibits. And up the top of the steps we went underneath the Big Buddha and had a bit of a look at the small amount of exhibitions. And here's this bloke meditating for the first time in his life. Probably only does it when he goes to Phuket. I got the impression that underneath the Big Buddha was the storage area. While renovations were being done elsewhere, they put all the sculptures and such underneath out of the weather. Because we'd walked so far in the heat through the bush track, I was exhausted and it took a while to recover. But standing and watching over the scenic view of Chalong Bay and the area around Chalong Bay was quite nice. And here's a panoramic view from Chalong Bay right around the southern coast of Phuket Island to the west coast, leading up from Nakhon to Kata and Karen and up to Patong. As I said, we were fairly tired, so I didn't really get to read too many of the signs telling the story of each deity or monk or person who had dedicated and spent money to help build the shrine, but there was a lot of people's names, and I would suggest that they were people that had paid money to. You could ring this with a baton or run the baton around it and make a hell of a noise. It was interesting. The Thai travel pass had been operating for some time, but there was still a scarce number of tourists, a lot more than I expected because of the COVID. So underneath the steps was the curio shop, or a little bit of a temple, and we didn't go in there. But we we just walked around, and we walked back up the steps again for another look at the main Buddha statue, and I took a video of this marble work. I think it was marble work. So I'll shut my big mouth and let you concentrate on the video itself. On the southern side of the big Buddha temple was another area with shrines and relics and memorials, if you want to call it that. Here's the back of the big Buddha. So this shaded area had a lot of monkeys in there and a rest area, and it was nice to stand away from the heat of the day and have a bit of a break looking at the views on the southern end of the Big Buddha and looking at the southwest end of the island of Phuket. Like most Buddhist temples, there's a whole heap of monuments and shrines, and always placed conveniently below them was collection tins that you put your money in. I'll shut my big mouth again and you can have a bit of a look at the video. So we went back to the viewpoint and had a look at the panoramic view of Chalong Bay, and it was a beautiful day and fairly clear skies, so we got a good view. So we then walked down the steps to the bottom entrance and exit area, and it was another lovely view of Chalong Bay. Underneath the big Buddha was another area obviously dedicated to office and temple and worship, and other stuff didn't go in there. So we exited the big Buddha and began to walk down the hill, and we got to this elephant tourist attraction and decided that walking another 7 kilometres in the heat downhill was too much, and we decided to catch a blue bus back around from Chalong Bay back to Kata Beach and back to the Hotel Ibis, and jumped in the pool and enjoyed the cool, relaxing pool before we went for an early dinner, and then back to the hotel and had a really good sleep. So the next day we caught the blue bus again and went up to Patong, where they had a PCR test area in the car park near the big shopping centre, and you had to line up on these chairs that was not organised in any particular way, and it was a pain in the neck to get them to talk to you and tell you where to go and which person to see in what order. But yeah, they stuck another thing up your nose, and 3 days later you got an email saying you didn't have COVID, which was good. So we had a bit of a look up and down Patong Beach, and just to fill some time in before we caught the bus back to old Phuket town. And here's an image of my wife standing on the beach with some sand sculpture or art sculpture, and lots of people were sunbathing on the beach and enjoying themselves. So the video was produced by myself, and it's the end of another exciting video of January 2022, our visit to Big Buddha and Kata and Patong Beach.